So we 0-4. We have, at this point, we got nothing to lose. We dropped a quarter of our games, and we've yet to do anything. So we have to lock in.
All right. So obviously very blunt was one Cam Ward, not pulling any punches when commenting on how his team has performed so far. He's not lying. They were shut out over the weekend against the Texans. Things have not been good in Tennessee. What do you make of what Cam Ward had to say, Canton?
Yeah, they haven't amassed over 300 yards of total offense, which is absolutely anemic. And everybody understands in the NFL, 100 total yards should equal 7 points. So they're having issues being able to move the ball, and this is the guy that was supposed to solve those problems. Now, he ain't lying. The team is cheeks. The offense has been really, really bad. And Cam Ward is in the unenviable position of trying to assert himself as a leader while not being a productive player. And that's the difficulty in the scenario that he was thrust into down with the Tennessee Titans.
Number 1 overall pick. He's been sacked an NFL high 17 times and is completing a league worst 52% of his passes. Now, why would that be? Because he's been under pressure 45% of the time when he's only completing 36% of his passes. Being slaughtered out there. That's really what's going on here, and it's not an accident. Titans are the worst scoring offense in the NFL, second worst in total offense. It all points to you not protecting your quarterback and giving him an opportunity to shine.
We have to give credence to the fact that he's being honest, right? You don't want him to express it that way in particular, but he's being honest. The other thing is, too, man, like for a young guy that's as competitive as Cam Ward, because if anybody knows him, they know how much he's about his business and wants to win. Like, that's his goal in the league. So it'll take some time. And I think the moves that they made, they thought they were putting themselves in a better situation. Made offensive line changes. They brought in Calvin Ridley as a number 1 wide receiver, brought in Tony Pollard as a back that they thought would be explosive. It's just not working out right now. I don't know if it's going to get right. But this is organizational and what you need to do around Cam Ward, because I still think the kid got the goods.
I will quickly bring this up. I heard Tom Brady talking about the sound, and he basically thought that maybe the fact that all these kids in college are now transferring is now hindering them at the next level. They don't have time to really
I can see a lack of development.
Probably is. It's a lack of development, but you know what? The fact is, it's not their fault. The system was exploiting them, and they stepped up to do something about it. There's going to be some rough edges. Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Cory Booker, both of them are getting involved and trying to bring stuff together, but as usual, they're coming from 2 different perspectives as well, which is a more complicated story to get into. Both has one angle, different angle than the other. It's always a mess when it comes to college sports.
Person at this point is expecting anything with the Jets that isn't a disaster, but I thought last night was particularly disheartening. You know, when Aaron Glenn became the coach of the Jets, my contention has long been, and this is the way I have defended Aaron Rodgers in any argument that I've had with anyone about how much he was to blame for the Jets season last year. I said it's possible the Jets of 2024 were the worst coached team in NFL history. I did not think Robert Saleh was a good head coach, but firing him 5 games into the season and elevating a defensive coordinator who had no business being the head coach of a team, much less trying to do that and run the defense at the same time. The Jets were a coaching catastrophe last year, and they wound up losing 7 one-score games. That's, to me, and Chris, I would defer to your expertise, but to me, that's where the coaching makes the difference, around the margins, the little tiny difference in a close game. And I thought Rodgers had them close enough to that, and that's why I thought he would do well in Pittsburgh, and that remains to be seen. And that's what I thought would start getting cleaned up with the Jets. And so Aaron Glenn, who I am inclined to like because he was a former Jet, which means he's got a little blood in the ground, whatever the term I'm looking for is.
No, you're right. That's it.
and who was a really good player, and he has the right coaching pedigree. I mean, everything about it seemed positive. All summer long, when he was preaching, we're not going to make these mistakes, we're going to be disciplined and all that, I bought it. Okay, we're going to be better. The Jets are not a very talented team, but they're not the least talented team in the league. They have some glaring holes, like they don't have a second receiver, and they have a few other problems. But they have some decent talent. If they played clean, the reality is, if not for the ridiculous, stupid, unimaginable penalties and other mistakes that we have seen from them, I think right now they would be at worst 2-2. And so that circles me all the way back to, it's the coaching. Again, if anything, it's gotten worse. The Jets look poorly prepared. They are irretrievably stupid in the penalties they commit. I mean, I don't like using that word, but I can't think of a better or more descriptive one. And they completely beat themselves. The pre-snap penalties are something no team in that. You could give Patrick Mahomes these pre-snap penalties. He's not going to overcome them, much less asking Justin Fields to do it. The fumbles last night were ridiculous. So, I mean, the Jet season is over, and when the coach says, I don't even know what same old Jets means, someone needs to just put on the tape of the first 4 games of this season and say, here, coach, this is literally exactly what it means.
So, Jay, you said you were hoping, not expecting a win last night from the Jets. I'm curious, what are you expecting from this season? What does success look like for Aaron Glenn in year 1?
I think that success would have looked like the opposite of what it is, which is he has come in, he has started laying down the foundation of a culture that the Jets have not had in a very long time. The truth is, the last time the Jets had a culture, it was Rex. Mm-hmm. And I know that I'm hopelessly biased in this. Rex is my friend and all of that. But the reality is, when Rex Ryan was the coach of the Jets, you knew what they were. Sometimes it was better than other times, but you knew what you were getting. You knew what the New York Jets were. What are they? What have they been since then? What were the Jets of Adam Gase? What were the Jets of Todd Bowles? What were the Jets of Robert Saleh? What are the Jets right now? They don't have an identity. I don't know what they think they're trying to do. They looked last night like they wanted to run the ball like crazy, and it was for the most part working. But if you're going to do that, you have to have a dominant defense. You have to have a big physical, defense that they don't have, even though I think they have the players to do it, or at least some of the players to do it. So that I was hoping we would start to see the beginning of a foundation being laid. And the Jets have enough good young players that they could start building something that 2 years from now, maybe when they have a better quarterback, maybe when they fill in some of the holes, that you would say, yeah, that looks like it's leading to something that could work. Right now, it looks like the opposite. Right now, they look like a dysfunctional, disorganized, completely unprepared mess.
So at the end of the season, essentially, Greeny, it doesn't matter how they start, it's how they finish. And maybe it's not overall win-loss record, but if you, at the end of the season, can discern what this team is doing, what the identity is, and where you think Aaron Glenn is going for the future, that's a win.
At this point, it's all you can hope. I mean, 0-4, that's it, right? So you're not sitting here thinking, oh, they're going to make a playoff run.
Right.
So I remember, was it the first year that this group was in Detroit?
3-13.
2021.
But what was it, the first or the second year that they had that great second half of the season run?
Oh, that was the second year.
The second year.
Yeah, they finished 9-8.
So, when they got hot and they were playing great and they wound up missing out on the playoffs, but I think they beat Green Bay the last week of the season, knocked them out. That felt like a win, right? That felt like a team on the come. So, Smalls, I think the best way I can answer that is to say you'll just know it if you see it. You'll know it if this team starts turning a corner. Right now, if I'm Garrett Wilson, look, they just gave him his money and all that, and that's great. But if I'm Garrett Wilson, did you see the catch he makes in the corner of the end zone last?
Ticky-tack OPI call, but that was an unbelievable catch.
So my Jet little group chat that was going on last night is debating how good he is. I sit next to Randy Moss every Sunday and watch these games. We do Sunday Countdown, and then we go up to this conference room upstairs, and we all have lunch, and we've got like whatever it is, 8 TVs on, and we're watching all the games. And I asked Randy one time, we see all these great receivers, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. We all know who they are.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb. We know who the group is. I believe, now maybe I'm just hopelessly biased on this, I believe Garrett Wilson is good enough to be one of the people we talk about in that conversation.
Agreed.
But he has no opportunity to do it. He has played with just a revolving door of sub-average quarterbacks, candidly, including now. And there's never been a team that has less number two. This is terrible English. Who the hell is their second receiver?
I don't know.
I've watched every snap of their season, and I don't know the answer. So, he's out there all night long. I thought Dan Orlovsky and Louis Riddick were going to jump out of the booth when they singled him up in zero coverage on that touchdown that he catches at the end.
I don't know what are they doing? Thinking. Yeah, there's only one guy that can beat you in the basketball.
I don't know how to call a defense. I don't know what the words are. I don't know what the terms are. But if I were coaching against the Jets, I would say 2 people, that guy. That guy. 2 people, always. You figure out the rest. You 9, do whatever you want. I'm putting 2 people on that guy, and I don't think any of the other great receivers have that. Jamar Chase doesn't have that. Justin Jefferson doesn't have that. CeeDee Lamb doesn't have that. Whoever else we're talking about doesn't have a black hole on the other side of the field. So I feel bad for him, but he got his money, so that'll be okay. Anyway, that's my way of saying they have some young pieces that, in theory, you could build a good team around if you were building something. But right now, they look more like a team that you need to tear down before you start building it again, and that's very disappointing.
All right, Greeny is
Do you not
here.
think so? I see Chris's face. Do you not agree?
No,
I'd love to be wrong.
Jets fans have perpetually been in this cycle since Rex Ryan.
Correct.
Like we've got to tear it down and then build it back. They never build it back.
No,
they
they
just
don't.
keep tearing it down.
Right, and because everyone they choose is or some combination of the two, not the right person, and they don't have enough courage of their conviction to stick by them. So, look, I can't sit here and say they should have kept Adam Gase longer than they did, or they should have kept Robert Saleh longer than they did. So I guess it is more a function of they just keep hiring the wrong people to do the job. At some point, when you have the longest active streak of missing the playoffs of any team in the 4 sports that we cover the most regularly in this country, then it goes beyond any coach